Hi Emily. So here we are again, and what we're going to make tonight is like a Greek version of chicken Milanese. And chicken Milanese is really nothing more than sauteed chicken breasts in breadcrumbs. So let's see what we got ready here. I like to use these panko breadcrumbs, those Japanese breadcrumbs, and I have some right over here on the plate ready to go. And I got some milk, and right over here we got some chicken stock in the back in the glass, some diced tomatoes, feta cheese, some roasted red peppers, Greek Kalamata olives. In the back, this is a little bit of it's a very light tomato sauce. Instead of going through the trouble of that, I'm going to use a little classical sauce, which works fine. Got some salt and pepper, and in case we want to make it, give it a little heat later on, we're going to put some Tabasco sauce in. And here's our chicken breast ready before it gets pounded. And some garlic and basil, and even though the Greeks don't use a lot of basil, you could put oregano in this dish. I'm going to use basil because I like basil. So that's our setup, and of course we have our super duper stove here, and let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is we want to pound a chicken breast. So we're going to take one piece of plastic wrap, put it here. We're going to take the chicken breast and put it on, and when you look at a chicken breast, the underneath side, it's kind of raw. I mean, it's all raw obviously, but I mean it has no skin. Where the top has this like little layer of like, I'm not really sure what they call it, but you see how it's got like a filament skin? You want that on top, because when you start pounding, that'll help stretch the chicken. And here, the whole idea is to pound it just to get it all nice and even, so it'll cook evenly. Don't want to beat the crap out of it. Zach, take notes. This is how you beat your meat. You can do it with your left hand if you're good at it. You can do it with your right hand. You can do it with both hands. Okay, so, sorry Emily. Here's the, yeah, that's pretty even. So we're going to say that's about ready to go right there. So you can see now I got my saute pan with extra virgin olive oil in it, ready to saute the chicken. Now, why extra virgin olive oil, you may ask? It's so expensive. Well, the reason is because those panko breadcrumbs that we're going to put in this chicken really absorb a lot, I mean, they're not a lot of oil, but they do absorb oil. So if they're going to absorb oil that we're going to eat, we might as well want to, keep it good tasting. So we're going to go ahead and spend the money for the extra virgin olive oil so it gets absorbed. It'll actually become part of the dish. Okay, now over here, what we're doing is we have our milk over here and our breadcrumbs right there. Our chicken breast is right here. Traditionally, what you should be doing is to first, go ahead and put the chicken breast in flour, and then put it in egg, and then put in the panko crumbs. But because we want to make this easy, stuff that you can make quick, you can get away with just putting the chicken in the milk, into the panko, and into the pan. You can get away with it. So why take that extra step for right now? So what we're going to do is do just that. We'll take the chicken breast out. Get the panko over here. Okay, and when you put this into the panko breadcrumbs, you want to really kind of push it into it because you want it to stick as best you can. A trick that I used to do in the restaurant to make this taste better is I would first I would take this and put it directly into Parmesan cheese, and then put it into the egg wash, and then put it into the panko crumbs. So it would definitely impart a lot of flavor, but that's something you can do later. But for right now, don't worry about it. Just do it just this way. While our oil's heating up, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get the garlic ready. And the best way to do it is like this. One shot, it all comes away. See how easy that was? Take the little nodule off here in the end. And you don't have to chop it up real fine. I kind of like to see garlic, the whole thing with garlic is, you always got to remember, you want to caramelize it so that it's brown. Okay, so our olive oil is ready. We're going to go ahead and take the chicken. I'm going to put it right into the olive oil. You want to get a nice sizzle. So now it's not going to completely cook in the pan here, so we might have to put it in the oven for a little bit. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just flip it over. See that nice color we got there? You want to make sure you got nice color to it. You don't want the flame up too high, but you don't want it too low so it's just sitting there doing nothing. And we probably could have used a little bit less olive oil, but what the hell, my mother gets it for free for grease. Huh. As soon as this is done, we're going to take it off the pan and then we're going to prepare the sauce. Okay, so the chicken now is off the pan. We put it in the oven because after it comes out of the pan, it's obviously not going to cook the whole way. So you want to put it in the oven because once we reach this point, you want the chicken pretty much cooked because it's not going to sit in the sauce or the pan very long. So let's get this our mise en place ready. We've got our chopped garlic here. I got some Greek olives, and we just need to pit them. And this is a serving for, let's say, for one. It could be two. But make sure you get the pits out of the olives. And you can hear that microwave going off. That was my coffee getting ready. Okay. And that's pretty good. You don't want a whole lot of olives in there. We're going to get some roasted red peppers. We'll have some feta cheese ready. And roasted red peppers, you can put as much. All this you can put as much. We're going to have about this much chopped tomatoes. Okay, and I have my tomato sauce ready here. Now, the way it's going to work is we're going to put a little olive oil in the pan. We're going to put the garlic in first, let it brown. Now, you don't want the heat too high. You want it like medium heat. We're going to let this caramelize, and as soon as that starts turning brown, we're going to put in the tomatoes and the olives and the roasted red peppers. And at that point, we're going to just saute them a little bit, let them mix with the olive oil. And if we had a little white wine at that point, I don't have any white wine today, but you could put some white wine. But once that's all caramelized, then we're going to put in a little bit of chicken stock, a little bit of sauce to make our light tomato sauce, and the cheese and we almost forgot the basil. The basil here going at the very end once we shut off the fire, because if we put this in too early, it's just going to melt. It's going to turn into mouchade, okay? So things are going to move very fast. Okay, so let's get the flame going here. I'm going to kick it up to about a medium. Our pan is actually still hot. After the chicken was done here, I basically threw the oil out and just wiped the pan. There was no reason to wash it, and so it's still actually pretty warm. Now we're going to go ahead and put some olive oil in, not a whole lot. And the cool thing with oil, once it's in the pan, you can almost tell when it's ready. It starts losing its color. See how it's losing its color right there? And pretty quickly, it's going to start smoking. So right now, I think we're ready. Let's see. Garlic goes in first. There we go. Perfect. Now you can use a spoon to move it around. You can shake the pan, whatever floats your boat. But as soon as these are done, as soon as these turn brown, you want to get something else in the pan and bring down the temperature down there. But we definitely want them, see how they're starting to caramelize. You don't want raw garlic in your dish. Okay, about right there, that's perfect. Okay, we're going to throw in the tomatoes, the olives, and the roasted peppers. We're going to throw in a little black pepper, because I like a little black pepper in my stuff. Again, just let it sit there and caramelize for a second. I'm chopping the basil right now. Okay, now, at this point, we want to make a light tomato sauce. We're going to put a little bit of chicken broth. Remember, you don't want to use bouillon. Booyah! Okay, and we're going to put a little bit of this in. Kind of like, I guess about half and half. Half broth and half chicken. Okay, and it depends on you. This sauce a little bit light. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more sauce in. Not a whole lot. Kind of put the olives a little bit more. We'll get a tasting spoon. I think it's very good. I like a little bit of heat, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little Tabasco sauce in. Turn off the fire. In goes the feta cheese, because we don't want it to melt. In goes the basil. And we want to move it around just a little bit more. Get it all in there so that the flavor of the basil permeates the sauce. And that's about it. Pretty much ready. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to plate it up. Okay, so I have our chicken that came out of the oven there, all ready to go. Here's our sauce. And what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of, put it like this. And some of this looser stuff, just kind of drizzle around the outside. And I don't know about you, but that looks awful appetizing to me, and I'm going to eat it. So what would I serve with this? This would be perfect with a little risotto, maybe infused with a little bit of thyme or some some risotto would be perfect with some sauteed vegetables. Or if you wanted to, you could make a little bit more sauce of this, so a little bit more tomato and more chicken stock. So this, you would multiply this. You don't need more of the stuff, and put some pasta underneath it, just enough to, for the pasta to absorb. It could be a great dish, and you see how fast it is. So that's it. See you next time.